So we're back again for another little roundup of the latest news out there in cyberspace relating to West Ham United, our great football club. So the first story I'm going to bring you, and this is via the One Football website. The link for the app is in the description below. Please feel free to download it to your mobile device. It will put all of the stories in one convenient location for the club that you support. Obviously, in this case, I'm assuming you're probably a West Ham fan. So this is from Tribal Football, and the headline is West Ham are interested in Arsenal attacker Nicolas Pepe. And it says that Arsenal are ready to offload Pepe for just £25 million in the upcoming transfer window. Now, that's quite a hit that Arsenal are going to take with this player, because he went to Arsenal in 2019 and they paid £72 million for this guy from Lille. He's an Ivory Coast international. He's got 28 appearances for the national team, 6 goals. Now, I'll be perfectly honest with you. When I saw this story, I was like, he's never really sort of, in my estimation, and I'm not an Arsenal fan, so I'm looking from the outside looking in. And I sort of sit here and think, he's never really done it for Arsenal. But you look at his stats, and in terms of goal scoring with Arsenal, or goal involvements more to the point, it's actually not too bad. He's played 109 games for Arsenal in all competitions. He's got 27 goals, 20 assists. So if you do the maths, it's not far short of a goal involvement every other game. This season, it's dried up a little bit. It has to be said. He's made 17 appearances in the Premier League and he's registered 1 goal, 1 assist. Not great, I'll grant you that. But he's a player that plays in several different positions. His preferred position is as a right winger. He can be deployed as a central striker. Now, as we all know, and we've all said it on many different platforms, many different streams, whatever, that we're going to need to invest in a striker in this next transfer window. Could this guy be the answer? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. One thing he does have in his locker that I think that is something that we need to have from anyone that comes through the door that is going to be deployed as a striker is pace. Raw, sheer pace. Something that defenders hate having to come up against in a striker. This guy has it in abundance. Just looking here, he's like I say, he came from Lille. He had a good record at Lille, 79 matches in all competitions, 37 goals, 18 assists, which was obviously what got him his big money move to the Emirates. As I say, hasn't worked out this season, but I think that he could be the sort of player that if David Moyes could work his magic, and let's face it, he's done it before with players that are predominantly wingers. You look at Marko Arnautovic. He came to the club, and obviously his confidence was quite low. He didn't hit the ground running. He got sent off. I think it was at Southampton, if I remember rightly, in about the second game in as far as the Premier League was concerned. And he was really struggling. The manager that signed him, which was obviously Slaven Bilic, was out of the door. David Moyes comes in, and very quickly he caused a bit of an upsurge in the form of Marko Arnautovic, which resulted in a lot of goals and improved performances. Now, I do wonder whether this guy could be another player that maybe could benefit from David Moyes' man management, putting an arm around him, getting the words in his ear hole, saying, You're a better player than what you're showing. Come on, get out there. Show us what you got. I don't know, maybe. I mean, looking here, he's a player that's played in the Premier League since 2019. He was signed in the summer of 2019. His contract at Arsenal runs out in the summer of 2024, so he will have 2 years left on his contract. But as this story says, they're willing to let him go for £25 million there or thereabouts. So they're going to be losing roughly £47 million on him in that intervening time. 26 years of age, Ivorian international. He can play wide. He can play through the middle. It gives us a little bit of a versatility, a little bit of an option here and there. You know, we could maybe play, or if he plays on the right, maybe Bowen could go up top, rest Antonio, or Antonio could go onto the left wing, put Pepe on the left wing, because with all due respect to Pablo Fornals, and I think he's a great worker for the team, but he's not a winger in the traditional sense. The one weapon that a winger needs is raw pace, and Pablo Fornals, and I love Pablo Fornals, but he doesn't have that pace that I think a proper winger needs. This guy could have it, and as I say, he could possibly be the answer, maybe as far as our striker problem is concerned. You might have a different point of view on that. I appreciate that. You might sit there and go, mate, seriously, I don't want him anywhere near the club. But as I say, it's 25 million pounds. And what does 25 million pounds get you for a Premier League player these days? And especially a Premier League team that hopefully, fingers crossed, will be playing in European football next season. That's the hope. And he has got experience of playing in European competition, obviously with Arsenal and with Lille. So give me your thoughts. Could Nicolas Pepe be the answer? Comment sections below. Get stuck into it. So anyway, the next story. Now, this is also from the One Football website. This one's from Caught Offside. The headline says, West Ham enter the race for relegation-bound striker. Now, this is actually a player that I've been saying for a little while. This guy, I definitely would like to get in through the door as a striker option. And his name's Emmanuel Dennis, currently on the books at Watford, who at the time of recording this are pretty much dead and buried in the Premier League. I mean, it would take some ridiculous set of circumstances to come about for Watford to not get relegated from the Premier League. They're still mathematically a Premier League team as I record this, but they're on life support, and I think the life support's going to be turned off fairly quickly. This says that Emmanuel Dennis is being tipped to come into West Ham, and this is according to former Premier League midfielder Carlton Palmer via Give Me Sport. It goes on to say that he was a £3.6 million signing for Watford. He's got 10 goals and 6 assists in 31 league games. Now, I would argue that in a team that has really struggled for goals and everything else, that's actually a pretty good return. 16 goal involvements in 31 league matches for a team that has really struggled to do anything in the Premier League. He's a Nigerian international, 24 years of age. Now, he's strong, he's quick. I think he could be a very good replacement for Michail Antonio. I'm not saying get rid of Michail Antonio, don't get me wrong. Maybe put Michail Antonio on the bench, maybe put Michail Antonio wide. It gives you a little bit of an option. But I certainly do think this could be a guy that could be a viable option. So looking here, not only can he play as a central striker, he can also play on the wing. So again, it gives you the option of maybe moving things around, playing Bowen up front, playing Antonio up front, playing Dennis up front, moving those three around and having them as a fluid moving strike force in a front three. Who knows? It could be an option to pursue. He went to Watford from Club Brugge. So obviously, again, he will have some European experience that he can bring to the table. Just looking here, there's no big problems as far as injuries are concerned. That's something that I always look at, and I'm a little bit hesitant if there's a player that's got a long checkered history as far as injuries concerned. This guy doesn't have it. The only negative I can probably say on what I'm looking on here on Transfer Market on his information this season is that probably since the turn of the year, it's fair to say that the goals have dried up for him. But again, factor in that he's playing in a team that are really struggling in the Premier League. And you can probably appreciate that maybe it's not down to his lack of effort. Maybe it's just that the quality around him isn't there. As a striker, yes, you're judged on your goals and assists and all the rest of it. But quite frankly, when you're played as the lone striker, if you're not getting the service, you're feeding on scraps. What on earth do you expect? So this is a player that I think that Emmanuel Dennis, I'm a little bit more certain that this is a player we should be looking at. Nicolas Pepe, I think I can kind of see the logic there, but with Emmanuel Dennis, I'm absolutely certain that this is a player that potentially could be a very good acquisition for West Ham United as a striker, should we choose to get him through the door. How much would it be to get him through the door? Well, according to this piece here, it says that a figure of between 20 and 30 million pounds is being bandied around. Now, would it be as much as 30 million pounds for a team that's going to be in the Championship next season with a player that's got international aspirations and that wants to play at the highest level? I don't know. I think that possibly nearer the 20 million pounds might be a realistic figure. 30 million pounds, I'm not entirely convinced that we would need to go to that extent. Just looking here, though, the only thing that might be a slight complication is that his contract does expire in the summer of 2026. So that might push it a little bit more towards the 30 million pounds mark. I don't know, but I'm sure that there's a deal that could be done. Again, let us know your thoughts. Comment sections below. Emmanuel Dennis, is he a viable option to come in as a striker from Watford? Premier League experience, 24 years of age. He doesn't have a questionable injury record. He scored goals in the Premier League for a struggling team. So what would he do with a team that's actually functioning as an offensive unit and excelling? Like I say, we're hopefully going to be playing European football of some way, shape or form. Worst ways, Conference League. Hopefully, maybe playing again in the Europa League, or maybe, dare I say it, maybe even Champions League football. Could he step up to the mark? I think he's got the potential. Let me know your thoughts. The last story, and this isn't so much a transfer piece. This is from the OneFootball website. This is from Tribal Football, and the headline says, Ferdinand urges West Ham midfielder Rice to drop Man United plans. Now, before your jaw hits the floor, this is not Rio Ferdinand. This is Anton Ferdinand, and it says that he's urged Declan Rice to ignore Manchester United. Now, we all know that there's lots of noises swirling around about, oh, Declan Rice, is he going to go in the summer? Could he go to Manchester United? Could he go to this club, that club, the other club? Well, Anton Ferdinand is saying that Manchester United isn't the right place to go right now. They're going through a massive transitional period. For me personally, if I'm Rice, Manchester United is not the place I'd be going. I'd wait a few years and see what Ten Hag does. Whether he can implement what he did at Ajax at Manchester United and get them looking more like a team that can challenge. Otherwise, what's the point of leaving West Ham to go somewhere you're not even challenging for a title? There you go. I dare say that probably his big brother has got the ump with him about this, but tough, doesn't really matter. Now, personally, I've kind of resigned myself to the fact that Declan Rice is going to ultimately leave West Ham United. I don't for 1 minute suspect that he is going to be like Mark Noble, a player that plays pretty much his entire professional career with one club. It'd be nice, but I don't expect it. Declan Rice is a world-class player, world-class midfielder. As I recalled this, in fact, yesterday the news broke that he got an award for a Premier League Players Award, and he was behind Mo Salah and Kevin De Bruyne. He got third place. Now, I don't think there's any shame in coming third behind Kevin De Bruyne and Mo Salah. For starters, they're world-class players. Secondly, they're more offensive players. He's a defensive midfielder. He's evolving into a box-to-box midfielder, yes, but he is essentially a defensive player. So for him to be behind those two players, There's no shame in that. But I do kind of think that at some point Declan Rice will move on. If I had to really put any money on it, I think that he's probably going to go in the summer of 2023. I don't think we're losing him this summer. I'm saying that crossing fingers and touching wood, but I think that the club would be very foolish, in my view, to let a player go of that caliber. And I'm talking from a leadership point of view. But given that Mark Noble, the current club captain, will be retiring in the summer. So essentially, if Declan Rice was to be moved on in the summer, we're losing two captains in one hit. I don't think that's a great idea. I do think that probably what will happen is the summer of 2023, Declan Rice will have been to the World Cup, come back from the World Cup. I hope that he tears it up for England. And at that point, I believe he has 2 years left on his contract. 1 year, but there is an option to extend it by another year to 2025. So why wouldn't we take that? So realistically, he's got 2 years left on his contract at that point. And I think at that point, it will be that he's out the door. But right now, I mean, Manchester United, let's be honest now, they are one of the biggest, if not the biggest club in world football. They've got a tremendous pedigree, great heritage all through the years, going back to the Busby Babes, all the way through to Alex Ferguson. But since Alex Ferguson walked out the door in 2013, they've lurched from one disaster to another. And in actual fact, the first manager that was obviously replacing Alex Ferguson was our very own David Moyes. And it didn't go well for him, but I don't blame him for that, because I think that the next person that was in the hot seat at Old Trafford had to hit the ground running, or they were going to be out of the door, and so it proved. But I don't think that David Moyes got the time that a lot of other managers, latterly did get. For example, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Jose Mourinho, Louis van Gaal. Now, I think that Declan Rice to go to Manchester United right now would be very ill-advised. If he's going to go to another club, ideally, to be honest, I'd probably prefer it to be a continental club so that he can't come back to haunt us. But I suspect that he will want to stay in this country. But Manchester United, I agree with Anton Ferdinand, not Rio Ferdinand, because Rio would be saying, go to Old Trafford, mate. We know that. He said it before. But Anton Ferdinand's actually got a brain, and he's looking at Manchester United, and he can see that the club at the minute, great an institution though they are, right now as a team is concerned in the Premier League, they're a little bit of a basket case in some senses. Ten Hag might come in and do a good job, but it's a big step up going from the Eredivisie to the Premier League. It's a completely different ball game. Maybe he will be a success, but I think that Declan Rice, Manchester United, Anton Ferdinand's absolutely right. It isn't the place to go. Again, get your comments in the section below. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Please don't forget, drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and hit that bell icon. You'll be notified of any more content as and when we upload it to the channel. Thanks for joining me. Come on, you Irons.